Hi, and welcome to the first regular season edition of The Curling Show, the podcast that brings you interviews with the sport's top athletes and the people who shape the game. Brought to you by Local 59 and their line of steel furniture. See it at local59.com. I'm your host, Dean Gemmel, and we're talking with Glenn Howard one day after his team started their season by winning the Shorty Jenkins Classic. All right, Glenn, well, thanks for being on the show today. First of all, I want to ask you about some of your Olympic trial preparation, but let's start with the weekend. You guys had a good weekend in Brockville. You know, you end up winning. You seem like you're in control in just about every game.
Yeah, obviously it couldn't have happened better if I'd have planned it. Just the fact that the guys played great. We had a phenomenal time, a lot of fun, played some golf, which was great, team building, so to speak, and to be able to go out on the ice and play pretty well like we did for all 8 games and at the beginning of the season, I couldn't ask for anything more, and really, really pleased with the weekend. And to come out with a win was phenomenal.
You know, you always struck me as a kind of guy who could probably fall out of bed and make shots, but how much time on the ice did you guys have before this event?
Well, I was able to throw rocks about 3 times myself. I was able to get down to, I teach a curling camp in the adult fantasy camp in Oakville, I guess in mid-August. And then 2 other times in Guelph, I had to pick up my son. He was at the Trillium camp. Richie, I think, got out twice. Craig maybe once, and Brent hadn't been on the ice at all. So as a team, we hadn't played at all, but just a couple little practice sessions about a month ago, and basically you're back going cold turkey, and away you go. And I was really impressed with how we played. Brent, Craig, and I were played pretty good, and Rich, he just stood on his head. He was phenomenal. He was mid-season form, and he can't explain it, but I'm not asking questions because I was pretty happy with him.
Hey, let's talk about Rich for a second, because a lot of people outside of Ontario may not know him all that well, except when he played with Mike Harris in the Olympics. But, guys in Ontario tell me they think he might be the best third in the country. What do you think?
I'll tell you, there is no question in my mind he's in the top 3, without a doubt. Day in and day out, Richard Hart is right there. He's got the whole package. He can throw the high hard one with accuracy, and he can come back with the finesse shots. And at third, as you know, that position you have to have all the tools, and Rich has it all. And he's proven that time in and time out. I think over the last 10, 15 years, and since we played together for 6 years, he's just been playing outstanding for me.
Since I wasn't there and you were, give me a little rundown. What happened to Kevin Martin against Nick Rizzo? Did you see how he gave up the 5?
I just know for a fact he was a couple of sheets over, and I know there was obviously a lot of shots were missed. I believe they had 3 or 4 actually missed shots in a row, and as you know, you just can't do that in this day and age. And I guess Nick, they were playing real well, and they made all their shots after that, and Kevin tried a high hard one on his first one to get rid of a bunch of rocks and didn't hit it right, and Nick was able to sit, I think he was able to sit 5, and Kevin tried to make a freeze and didn't quite make it good enough, and Nick was able to come down and tap it out and get his 5. And of course I didn't see the whole thing, but a lot of them were buried behind a center guard, so obviously Kevin, they had one bad end, and that pretty much cost them the game. Right.
What do you think of that 8-end format?
I don't mind it. I don't know. The only concern is you don't want to get down too early because, if you give up a 2 or 3 the first end, it's kind of like the third end of a normal game. But, no, I don't mind it. I think with the free guard zone, the 4-rock free guard zone, there's lots of time to, if you want to get into it, you can. So, really 8 ends is probably all we need to play. I like it.
What happened to Mark Dacey this weekend? They didn't even make the playoffs, I guess, right?
Again, that's funny. They were on a different draw to me entirely. I hardly saw them throw any rocks at all, and I actually don't know what the record ended up. I know they didn't qualify, so I think they may have ended up 2-3 or 3-2, somewhere in there, and didn't get in through their pool. But sometimes with the pools, I'm not a real big fan of them because you can, one pool can go 3-2 and not get in, another pool can go 3-2 and get in clean, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan of them, and again, I don't know what happened in Mark's case. It seems to me he was 3-2 and then he wasn't able to get in, but I could be wrong.
Right. What about Shorty? Did he have much to say this weekend, or was he his usual quiet self?
No, actually, he did. He had quite a bit to say. He was out there. He worked. I've never seen him work so hard on the ice at the Shorty Jenkins spiel. Normally, he lets the guys do it all on his own, I think, but he was out working pretty hard this year, and the conditions were quite good. A little bit straight for most of the weekend, and then he got it moving a little bit more on Sunday. But as you know, Shorty's pretty passionate about his ice and his job, and he was out there doing his thing like he normally does.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, let's talk about last year a little bit with your team. It was a bit of a mixed bag because you got the trial spot, but missed the Brier spot just by an inch, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think you felt like you should have made that last shot. And how tough was it getting over that?
Well, yeah, it was a fairly difficult shot to say the least. But that being said, I felt I should have made it. In hindsight, I didn't expect to have to play that type of shot at the end. But good old Wayne Madaw, like him, he comes in and makes a pistol on his last one and forces my hand. But I think what upset me more is I didn't read the spot. I actually threw it pretty well, and Rich and I were happy out of my hand. And as it turns out, it curled a little bit more in that spot, and we realized later that we just didn't take enough ice, and that upset me more than anything, that I didn't know that, and I played 10 ends on that sheet and didn't pick up on it, and then of course, and then the grand scheme of things, very, very disappointed. I felt that it might have been our year. We were probably one of the best teams in the world, I felt, last year, and we basically had the game in hand near the end there, and to miss my last shot to give it to lose was pretty upsetting. And the bottom line is the old proverbial "the sun comes up the next day" is definitely true. And the more as time goes by, you realize you get over it quicker. And I find the older I get, I can handle these things a lot easier than I could when I was younger. So, what do you do? It's very disappointing. I'd be lying to you if I told you otherwise. And all you can do is go keep plugging away. And the silver lining was shortly after that we were able to secure the trial spot with the CTRS points, and that was a real bonus. So we're concentrating all our efforts now on the trials and hopefully the Olympics.
Talking about the trials, you have Wayne as your fifth. Are you doing anything to involve him with the team before you go? Are you guys doing anything differently than you have in past years to get ready for the trials?
No, we're actually not going to change a lot of things, and I'm here mixed bag with all the other teams out there. All guys are trying to find the perfect formula as to what's going to create success. But we're not changing a lot. We're kind of doing a similar Bonspiel schedule and kind of doing what we did before, because we felt that really over the last few years it's been fairly successful, and why change it if it isn't broken? As far as Wayne, we were trying to sneak him into a spiel along the way, but it's not going to work out very well. But that being said, I guess if everything's according to Hoyle, we're probably not going to use him. Only time we probably use him if somebody gets sick or injured. But Wayne's right on board, and we're going to pick his brain. And he's one of the best in the world when it comes to strategy and that sort of thing, and matching rocks, and we're going to use that expertise for sure. And obviously he's a real close friend of mine, and so he knows how I react to pressure situations and such, and I think he'd be a great force, steadying force, I think, when the times get tough and pressure comes on, and I'm really looking forward to having him on board for sure.
Hey, you talked earlier about being younger and versus now, where you can get over losses a little easier. 86, I think, was the first time people saw you playing a big national event in the Brier. You ever amazed it's been 20 years?
It just mind boggles me that it was that long ago. I just can't believe it. It's been 20 years ago was my first Brier, basically in '86, and I can honestly say it feels like yesterday. It just feels like I can just remember playing the game. I can remember coming down to the last couple shots, and we virtually almost had that game won, and the sinking feeling when you come second and lose, and you don't go there to come second, and then just the feeling you had, and obviously the pressure that's put on you to try and get back, and lo and behold, we were able to do it and win a couple since then. But 20 years is mind-boggling, and I'm starting to realize I'm becoming a veteran as opposed to an amateur, so to speak, or a young buck. But it is hard to believe the time's gone that fast.
Yeah, we won't start calling you a grizzled veteran yet, but
yeah,
you're approaching it, I got to tell you.
So,
do you think you'd be skipping if Russ was still in Ontario?
That's a good question. I think probably not, because I never, truthfully, Dean, I never really had a desire to skip. Russ was always my idol, and I felt that I still think he's the best player that ever played the game, and he played so well. And again, I figured I was a lifetimer at third, and it was really by default. He got a job opportunity, went down to Moncton, and all of a sudden I'm in a situation that what do you do? Do you try and skip, or do you play third? And I dabbled with Eddie Warnick and had a lot of fun with Ed, and then about a year later, Rich Hart was really the guy. He called me up and says, "You had any desire to skip?" And I said, "Well, sure." I said, "If I have the right team, especially a third," I said, "if you're interested, I'm in." And it was really how it happened. And then we picked up the Mitchell boys, and I think we had 5 great years. But that being said, I really had no desire to skip, and it was just kind of by default. And probably if Russ had stayed, I would probably still be playing third for him.
Okay, Glenn, I'm going to end the interview with a new segment here on the Curling Show. The rapid fire segment. I give you a topic, and you have 1 to 3 words to give me a response.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah, sure.
So here we go. Olympic trial pressure.
Lots.
CCA-CBC negotiations.
Brutal.
Dave Park's raise and bonus.
Pathetic.
8 ends versus 10.
Like it.
World Curling Federation.
Okay.
Shorty Jenkins.
Awesome.
All right, man, that's it. Thanks for your time, Glenn.
You're welcome, Dean.
Good luck at the trials this year. I have you guys as one of my team. I think they're going to surprise people. I think you're a little underestimated, to be honest, right now.
Good. I'm truth be known, I want to kind of stay under the radar. I think you're going to have the Martin Furby show, and then you're going to have the likes of Stout and Morris, myself, and the rest. Really, I think it's going to be I think everybody's looking at Martin and Furby, and then the other 8 are going to be in the mix after that. But there's not a team there I haven't beaten, and there's not a team there I can't beat. So the bottom line is we just got to get hot that week, and hopefully we got the right formula.
Well, hey, it was great talking to you. Hopefully we'll have a chance to talk during the season again.
Great, Dean. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Okay, bye-bye.
That's Glenn Howard on The Curling Show, brought to you by Local 59 and their line of steel furniture, available at local59.com. And now that the season is underway, I want to remind curlers everywhere to make sure they have a subscription to the Curling News. If you don't, get one at thecurlingnews.com. It's a fine publication and a great supporter of the sport and this show.